Sometimes the most deafening noise in the soap opera world does not come from an explosive sweeps week promo or a dramatic cliffhanger. Instead, it comes from the quiet, insidious casting rumors that slip out onto the internet when we least expect them. We all tend to panic when we hear that a beloved performer might be packing their bags. Right now, the entire community is buzzing about the actress currently breathing life into Christina, and the implications of these rumors are genuinely terrifying. We're not just talking about a simple exit or a peaceful ride off into the sunset. We are staring down the barrel of a potential tragedy that could fundamentally alter the DNA of the show forever. Let us lay out the current landscape before we dig into the deep psychology of it all. The word on the street is that the actress might be making a massive career move, potentially stepping away from her role as Christina and possibly jumping ship to a brand new role on another major daytime network. While actor migrations are standard industry practice, it is the rumored exit storyline for Christina that has my blood running cold. The intense speculation points to Christina being pushed into an unimaginable, fatal tragedy right at the very place she went to seek a fresh start. Yes, guys, we are talking about her new school. The whispers suggest that this educational sanctuary might soon become the gruesome scene of a horrific crime, with Christina caught in the crosshairs and ultimately losing her life in a brutal conspiracy. This is where it gets incredibly interesting and, frankly, deeply unsettling. Think about what a school represents in the visual and emotional language of television. It is supposed to be a safe haven, a place of growth, reinvention, and forward momentum. Christina just started this new chapter. She walked through those doors looking for a way to build her own independent identity, desperately trying to distance herself from the mob, violence, and the endless, suffocating family drama that has haunted her entire existence. By transforming that specific space of hope into a literal crime scene, the writers would be executing a masterclass in psychological cruelty. It tells the audience that for someone born into her family, there is absolutely no escape. The violence will inevitably find you, even in the quiet halls of learning. Consider the immense emotional weight of a violent act happening in a classroom or a campus courtyard. We have seen characters face danger in abandoned warehouses, on the freezing docks, or in dark, rain-slicked alleys. Those are the expected arenas of conflict in this fictional universe. But a school, that completely shatters the unspoken contract of safety between the show and the viewer. Imagine the stark visual contrast of yellow police tape strung across colorful lockers, or exhausted detectives interviewing terrified students in a quiet library. If Christina becomes the victim of a ruthless conspiracy, right where she is supposed to be safe, it elevates her death from a standard mob casualty to a profound, senseless tragedy. It highlights the inescapable shadow of her father's lifestyle, proving that no matter how hard she tries to step into the light, the darkness is always waiting to pull her under. We also have to take a moment to talk about the specific, raw energy the actress brought to the role. When a recast steps into an established, legacy character's shoes, there is always a period of transitional friction. But she managed to infuse Christina with a very specific vulnerability mixed with a defiant, almost reckless edge. You could constantly see the internal war playing out on her face, the desperate, childlike need for her father's approval, violently clashing with the moral revulsion of his criminal world. If she leaves to take on a new role elsewhere, she leaves behind a massive, unfillable void. The character of Christina has been the emotional glue in so many fractured family dynamics. Erasing her from the canvas permanently, rather than simply sending her out of town on an extended vacation, feels like a definitive, brutal closing of a door that can never be reopened. Let us look at the massive ripple effect this would have, particularly on Sonny. Right now, we know he is already playing a high-stakes, dangerous game of chess. He is deep in strategy sessions with Rick, trying to anticipate his enemy's moves, and we know there are extremely dangerous players setting traps in the shadows. Sonny is currently operating purely on logic, defense, and calculated aggression. He thinks he has his eyes on all the threats. But what happens to a man who is meticulously guarding his empire when his most vulnerable child is slaughtered in a place he assumed was completely off limits? It would break him. Not just a temporary dramatic sadness, but a fundamental, soul-crushing break that would alter his character forever. I truly believe that if Christina is murdered at that school, we will see a version of Sunny that we have never witnessed before in the history of the show. We have seen him grieve, yes. We have seen him mourn losses, but this would be entirely different. This would be a guilt so toxic and overwhelming that it would poison every single relationship he has left. He would inevitably blame himself, obsessively tracing the path of the killers back to his own past sins. The tragedy would strip away the polished, controlled exterior of the mob boss and leave only a rabid, inconsolable father. The collateral damage of his retaliation would be catastrophic. He would literally burn the city to the ground to find whoever orchestrated the hit, and in doing so, he might destroy whatever fragile pieces are left of his family. Now, I have to pause here and play devil's advocate with my own theories. Am I letting the intense rumor mill dictate my emotions too much? We have to seriously consider the alternative. Maybe the writers are just floating these dark ideas to gauge audience reaction. Maybe the actress leaves and they simply recast Christina again or send her off to a prestigious academic program in Europe. Killing off a legacy character is a massive, irreversible gamble. Is it possible that the network would not dare to cross that line? Perhaps the rumors of a bloody conspiracy at the school are just exaggerated, intentional leaks designed to throw us off the scent of a much more mundane, peaceful exit. I have to admit, part of me thinks they would not risk the intense fan backlash of murdering Christina in cold blood, especially when she has so much untapped potential. But then I look at the recent narrative trends across the daytime landscape. The show has been leaning heavily into high stakes, permanent consequences. They want those explosive, Emmy-worthy reaction reels. They want the shock value that gets people talking, arguing, and trending on social media. A peaceful, quiet exit does not generate the kind of viral outrage and passionate viewership that a brutal, unjust murder does. If the goal of the writing team is to create an emotional earthquake that shakes the entire canvas to its core, sacrificing Christina is undeniably the most effective way to do it. Her death would be the ultimate narrative catalyst, igniting complex storylines for dozens of characters who would be united or violently divided by their shared grief. Let us dig deeper into the phrase ruthless conspiracy that keeps popping up in these dark rumors. If Christina is not just collateral damage in a random act of violence, but the specific intended target of a calculated plot, who actually benefits? This implies that someone is trying to send a very specific, terrifying message. Is it an unseen enemy of Sunny trying to hit him where it hurts the absolute most? Or is it something entirely disconnected from her family's criminal ties? What if it is a dark, twisted secret she stumbled upon at the school itself? The idea that she might uncover something sinister in a supposedly pure academic setting, leading to her being silenced permanently to cover someone's tracks, adds a phenomenal layer of thriller-esque tension to the traditional soap format. We absolutely cannot ignore the devastating impact this would have on the rest of the family. The grief would act as a massive, uncontrollable wrecking ball. Relationships that are already strained and hanging by a thread would completely shatter under the unbearable pressure of this loss. Imagine the agonizing scenes at the hospital, the horrifying realization as the news spreads, the utterly heartbreaking funeral. Siblings turning on each other in their anger, parents drowning in an ocean of regret and what-ifs. The writers would have an absolute goldmine of emotional material to work with for months, if not years. It would completely redefine the family's legacy. They would no longer just be a family that survives the mob life. They would be a family fundamentally and permanently broken by it. Shifting focus back to the actress for a moment, the idea of her moving to a rival soap is fascinating from a purely industry perspective. If she does make the jump, she will undoubtedly carry a significant portion of her loyal fan base with her. It is a massive testament to her talent that another major network would scoop her up so quickly, but it also highlights the cutthroat, competitive nature of daytime television. If she leaves and her former character is given a gruesome final send-off, it almost feels like a definitive, slightly bitter punctuation mark on her tenure. It is as if the show is making a bold statement. If the actor leaves, the character dies with her. It is a bold, aggressive writing choice that leaves no room for future returns. As we watch these upcoming episodes unfold, every single scene Christina has at that school is going to feel incredibly suffocating. We will be watching the background of every shot, looking for the hidden threat, analyzing every new character she interacts with, wondering if they are the one who will pull the trigger. The anticipation of the rumored tragedy will cast a long, dark shadow over what should be innocent, everyday moments. It is a brilliant, albeit incredibly cruel, way to build tension. We are essentially watching a ghost walking through the halls, holding our collective breath, just waiting for the inevitable moment when the trap finally springs shut. So, where does this leave us as viewers? We are currently trapped in a frustrating, anxiety-inducing waiting game, holding our breath to see if these grim rumors materialize into on-screen reality. Will the writers actually pull the trigger and plunge the entire family into an endless abyss of unimaginable grief? Or will they pull back at the absolute last second, offering a miraculous reprieve that spares Christina's life but still writes her out of the narrative in a softer way? If you ask me, the groundwork for a massive canvas-altering tragedy has already been laid, and the storm clouds are gathering incredibly fast over that supposedly safe school. The real question isn't just whether she will survive this season. It is whether we as the audience are truly prepared for the absolute devastation that will follow if she doesn't.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.